Young and the Restless spoilers. The alliance of survival. Victor and Claire's battle against Jordan. The atmosphere in Genoa City was tense and heavy, almost suffocating under the weight of a dark secret that Claire could no longer bear to keep. She paced the floor of the Newman estate, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone. The news she had learned earlier was nothing short of catastrophic. Jordan, a criminal mastermind who had tormented her family, had escaped from prison. Worse yet, no one else seemed to know. It was as though the world remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beneath its surface. Claire's dilemma. Claire knew the gravity of her decision. Revealing Jordan's escape to the public would create widespread panic and might push the cunning fugitive into hiding, making her even harder to capture. Yet, staying silent meant the danger would continue to loom over her and her loved ones. There was only one person she could trust with this burden. Her grandfather, Victor Newman, a man whose influence and cunning were legendary. Claire approached Victor, her voice barely above a whisper, yet trembling with urgency. "Grandfather," she said, her eyes wide with fear. "Jordan has escaped. She's out there, and she's coming for us." Victor's reaction was immediate. His face darkened, his usual calm shattered by a mixture of rage and disbelief. "What? How could this happen? That woman belongs in prison for the rest of her miserable life." Victor's realization. Victor's initial instinct was to unleash his fury on the local authorities, to demand answers for how someone as dangerous as Jordan could simply walk free. But Claire, ever perceptive, stopped him before he could pick up the phone. "No, grandfather," she said firmly. "If you alert the police, she'll know. She'll go underground, and we'll never find her again." Victor's jaw tightened, his hands clenching into fists. He hated being restrained, hated being told there was a battle he couldn't fight head-on. But Claire was right. Jordan was not just a runaway criminal. She was a shadow, capable of slipping through cracks in the system like water through a sieve. She would disappear completely if provoked. "Then what do you propose we do?" Victor asked, his voice low and measured, a tone that only masked his brewing storm. Claire hesitated. She had thought this through, but saying it out loud made it real. "We use me as bait. A dangerous plan." Victor's eyes flashed with anger. "Absolutely not," he thundered. "I will not risk your life, Claire." But Claire was unyielding. "Grandfather, if we don't stop her now, she'll come for me anyway. At least this way we'll have the upper hand." Reluctantly, Victor began to see the merit in her plan. Jordan was not one to forgive or forget, and Claire had been instrumental in her original capture. She would undoubtedly be Jordan's first target. If Claire could lure Jordan out into the open, Victor could deal with her once and for all. But the stakes were higher than either of them could have anticipated. Claire revealed an additional layer of the threat. Jordan wasn't working alone. Ian Ward, a manipulative and resourceful criminal in his own right, had aligned himself with Jordan. Together, they were a deadly force, armed with weapons and an insatiable thirst for revenge. Preparation for battle. Victor and Claire spent the following days crafting their strategy. Victor used his extensive network to gather intelligence on Jordan and Ian's movements, while Claire honed her own survival skills under his watchful eye. He drilled her on how to recognize danger, how to fight back if necessary, and, above all, how to trust her instincts. "Remember," Victor said during one of their late-night sessions, "Jordan thrives on fear. The moment you show her you're scared, she'll exploit it. You must be stronger than she is." Despite her determination, Claire couldn't ignore the gnawing fear in her gut. Jordan wasn't just a physical threat. She was a psychological predator who knew exactly how to get under her skin. And Ian Ward was no different. His charisma and cunning made him an equally formidable adversary. The trap is set. The plan was simple but dangerous. Claire would make herself visible, attending a high-profile charity gala that Victor hosted. The event, widely publicized, would ensure that Jordan and Ian knew exactly where to find her. Victor, meanwhile, would have his security team stationed discreetly around the venue, ready to intervene at the first sign of trouble. As the night of the gala approached, Claire struggled to maintain her composure. Dressed in an elegant gown that belied the turmoil within her, she stepped into the limelight, knowing that every move she made was being watched. Somewhere out there, Jordan was lurking, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Victor, ever the strategist, kept a close eye on the room from his position near the entrance. He had armed himself discreetly and ensured that his team was equally prepared. But as the evening progressed without incident, a sense of unease began to creep in. Had Jordan seen through their plan? Or worse, had she set a trap of her own? The confrontation. The answer came when the lights in the ballroom flickered, plunging the room into momentary darkness. When the lights returned, chaos erupted. Jordan stood at the center of the room, a sinister smile playing on her lips, a gun in her hand. Ian Ward flanked her, his expression as cold and calculating as ever. Well, Jordan purred, her gaze fixed on Claire. You've been busy, haven't you? Did you really think you could outsmart me? Victor stepped forward, his presence commanding despite the danger. Let her go, Jordan. Your fight is with me. But Jordan only laughed. Oh, Victor, always the hero. But tonight there are no heroes, only survivors. What followed was a tense standoff that tested every ounce of courage and cunning that Victor and Claire possessed. While Victor distracted Jordan with his sharp words, Claire took advantage of a split second of distraction to disarm Ian. The room erupted into chaos as Victor's security team moved in, neutralizing the threat and ensuring that neither Jordan nor Ian escaped. Aftermath. The battle was won, but the scars it left were deep. Claire had faced death and survived, but she knew she would never be the same. Victor, for his part, had been reminded of the fragility of the people he loved and the lengths he would go to protect them. As they stood together in the aftermath, surrounded by the wreckage of their confrontation, Victor placed a hand on Claire's shoulder. You were brave tonight, he said softly. Your mother would be proud. Claire managed a faint smile, her heart heavy but resolute. She had faced the darkness and lived to tell the tale. And as long as Victor stood by her side, she knew she could face anything.